Okay, I believe we are live.
Fantastic.
Let me just check my Instagram, see if I'm live on there. Yes, I am. All right. So, welcome everybody. My name is Natalia, and I am the owner of Wonderfully Made with Natalia, and this is our Wellness Wednesday. We do this weekly, and I try to get different people on here just to, expand our horizon as far as wellness. So today I have Dr. Jenny Chavez,
Hi,
and
everyone.
I also have Dr. Ben Lowe. So I'm so excited. Thank you both for your time because I'm a big person on time. So thank you so much for giving me your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
So let's get into it. Okay, let me, okay, so Dr. Ben Lowe, what motivated the decision in you becoming a doctor?
I actually started out studying electrical engineering at MIT, kind of following a little bit in the field that my father was in. But as I was there, I heard about what a great field medicine was because there was kind of no limits to where you could explore, what areas you could grow in and work with people in to improve their lives. And then I started reading little biographies of doctors and knew some of them became famous authors, best-selling authors, fiction and different things that some of you may have read. And then I also kind of had in my head from growing up this image of a family doctor, someone that you would see and kind of work with, from birth throughout life. And that's kind of my image of a doctor and something that appealed to me. And that's why I decided to take that next step and branch from engineering into family medicine.
Oh, wow, that is amazing. So that actually brought me to the next question, which what kind of a doctor are you?
Okay. So I went to medical school at Columbia University in New York City, which even back then was what late 80s, early 90s was already highly specialized. I think I was 2 out of the 150 or so in my class that went into family medicine. But because that was my image of a doctor and what I wanted to experience caring for all the different ages and for the whole family rather than just focusing on a specific part, if you will, that's the field that I decided to go into.
Wow, that's amazing. So I did read a little bit of your biography, and like you mentioned, you dealt with home deliveries.
Yes. We did physician attended home births. We had nurses, midwives, a lot of different teams that worked together in the greater Chicago area and then cared for families in different satellite offices throughout the greater Chicago area. And that's when my wife and I started our own family. So it was quite an adventure. I learned so much from the other doctors who were mentors, things you couldn't just read in a textbook, a lot of hands-on learning. And also the whole community in the office, all the way from caring for a new baby, wearing in a sling, breastfeeding for my wife. A lot of things that, again, we don't necessarily learn so much as medical doctors, but you need in real life. And so my wife and I started our own family and had the privilege eventually of having all 7 of ours at home and having a wonderful experience.
Wow, that is amazing.
She's amazing. But
I bet
I
she
got to be
is.
there.
I bet she is. So how did you get started on this wellness journey?
That's a great question. So my mom actually was a registered nurse all my years growing up. She kept up her license, although once she started having kids, she didn't practice. But from that, she also was very interested in nutrition, nutritional supplementation. So she was always reading and looking into other ways to support our health, and that was kind of the background that I grew up in. And then kind of after going to, MIT and Columbia and kind of getting the mainstream science and medical training, then being part of this practice in the Chicago area, I started meeting all these families that, and the whole culture of the practice was what can we do to help support people and keep them healthy so they can be home and not have to come in with problems or needs. How can we work more on the preventative side? And that really got me curious. And I started reading and researching, a lot of the work that was being done with science and nature to help support our brain and bodies more naturally. And then eventually got connected with a partnership that has now allowed me to work with you and Dr. Chavez, that works with scientists all around the world that are bringing in cutting edge breakthroughs to really support our brain and bodies. And what I love including the solution I think we'll get to talk about today, is they're solutions from nature that are scientifically measured and put together that actually support our body's own processes, because our bodies are amazing at what they're capable of doing, but they get all mucked up with some of the choices we make throughout our life. And so being able to kind of restore some of that natural process in a healthy way, then the body can go on and do a lot more even than you were expecting. And it's wonderful to see.
Thank you, Dr. Ben, for sharing that with us and how you got started on your wellness journey. I think that's amazing. That's how I got introduced as well. I became curious, right? And like, how can you go into the preventative route versus trying to help people once they've already been sick, right? So it's very inspiring to hear your story and how we share that similarity. So you talked about solutions, right? And we have a wonderful solution called NuBiome that was created by the scientists of New Skin. Can you tell us a little bit more about what NuBiome is?
Absolutely. And I love, Dr. Chavez, I love how you mentioned the curiosity, because that really is what brings us to discover new things together. And I was looking up some stats even before coming to this, because it even surprised me. I mean, how many of you realize we hear about, let's just take example one thing, the feel good neurotransmitter serotonin. I mean, there are all kinds of medications out there to help people feel good and help increase serotonin. But a lot of us, unless you research it, don't realize most of the serotonin is actually not created in our brain. It's actually created in our gut. In fact, it's like 90 to 95% of the serotonin in our bodies is created by our gut. Okay. So our gut is like the second brain, and serotonin can affect our mood, our digestion, our appetite, all those things that people are concerned about today. And that's just one stat. I was looking up, it says about maybe 70% of women struggle with different gut or digestive issues, and men are not far behind. Okay. And so there's all kinds of things, and everything starts in our gut. It can radiate out because it affects our digestion, our absorption of nutrients. It can affect, how many of you sometimes feel a little heavy in the gut, a little sluggish, and it makes the rest of you feel sluggish, or makes your thinking a little foggy, or you get a little sleepy. Okay. And you're just not up to par. Well, what if we could turn that around and help you kind of restore things from the gut outward? Oh, and another big factor, because so many, right, we're in winter, and so many today are concerned about their immune system, because that affects so many things. Well, where is most of our immune system? Some of you think white blood cells, throughout the bloodstream and everywhere, but like 70% of our immune system is based in the gut. So your immune system, your nervous system, the headquarters is actually in your gut. So we want to take care of our gut. And what happens is, as how many of you have ever been on antibiotics or multiple times in your life? Okay, it's so common. Even our kids are getting on it. And then what about, sometimes not eating the healthiest food, processed food, junk food, not getting all the fresh fruit and vegetables and fiber we want? All that can shift the balance of bacteria in our gut, called our microbiome. Okay, all those microorganisms, the biome, it's like a whole universe in our gut of little organisms. In fact, there's more in actual bacterial cells in our gut than there are human cells in our body, which is kind of mind blowing. It gets a little science fiction wise. Okay. But because of all these shifts that we're exposed to, that balance can shift more to less friendly, what you might call unhelpful, unhealthy, unfriendly microorganisms, instead of the healthy, friendly ones. Because the healthy, friendly ones actually help you digest. They help support that overall headquarters that's releasing the good feeling serotonin and helping you digest and supporting your immune system. And those friendly bacteria actually even create byproducts. Maybe a better word is they create substances that actually benefit us. So they work in harmony with us. But with, constant exposure to antibiotics, processed foods, all the different things that we might not be doing, as they can throw us out of balance. And when it gets out of balance, all these things that we mentioned start cascading in a negative direction rather than a positive direction. So that's kind of the foundation for why our scientists started researching a solution that could help address that. And maybe as I go into what the solution is, because I know you mentioned already NuBiome, Dr. Chavez, would you like me to comment at all about probiotics? Because I know a lot of people are familiar with
Yes.
it.
So I was gonna say, most people, the common thing that they're recommended, that they hear about, is, oh, take a probiotic, right? And that's the most
Right.
common thing. But I want people to know what the difference is between a pre, a pro, and a postbiotic, since the new
Okay.
biome consists of pre and postbiotics and not
Right. Right.
probiotics. So
This
that
is
would be
a
great.
whole new frontier going beyond. So beyond probiotics. Okay, great question. So, so many of you, like Dr. Chavez said, have heard of probiotics. Many of you eat live cultured yogurt to kind of restore the friendly bacteria after you've been on antibiotics, and that can help to a certain extent. The challenge with your probiotic supplements is a couple things. One is the actual viability, like how many of those organisms, because probiotics are actually living organisms, friendly living organisms. But how many of them are still alive by the time you take it? You know, and what else might be in there that maybe isn't the right balance for your body? Second, a lot of probiotics, even if they're still alive and you take them, they are vulnerable to the stomach acid, which is one of our first lines of defense to all the things coming in, and they never actually make it into your lower intestine and colonizing your gut. Okay. So having a probiotic that is guaranteed to be viable and guaranteed to get past the stomach acid and to thrive in your gut is important. And our scientists actually created one that's called Probio PCC. But for this discussion, what Dr. Chavez is mentioning, this solution NuBiome, okay, which is a pre and a postbiotic. Okay, what that means, the prebiotic, a couple things. One, it means it doesn't have anything alive in it. Now, at first, you might say, whoa, I'm supposed to have live probiotics, but let me tell you why this is significant. Significant because you don't have to worry about it being refrigerated. It's 100% effective, you know, no matter where it is. You don't have to worry about viability. But what happens is the prebiotics are largely from our fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, but most of them, us don't get enough of them. Okay. Apples are good. That's why you might have heard an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Okay. But what happened is our scientists found a specific prebiotic, because the other thing is prebiotics tend to be in fiber, tends to be kind of bulky, right? And some people get a little symptomatic when they get too much fiber. What happens, look how small this is. Okay. This has enough prebiotic fiber, a special fiber abbreviated XOS. Okay. That helps the friendly bacteria thrive. It's like giving your friendly bacteria extra nutrients so they get strong and healthy, and the unfriendly bacteria go, whoa, okay, that's not as friendly to us anymore. We're going to go somewhere else. Someone else is eating more junk food and doesn't have this. Okay. And so the unfriendly bacteria move out, friendly bacteria increase. Okay. And just from that XOS, but then there's also a postbiotic. Okay. And the postbiotic, oh, before I go there, the prebiotic, that XOS will also feed, like I said, nourish all your friendly bacteria. So it will nourish any probiotics you're taking. But all of us, you know, if we're alive, we have some friendly bacteria already inside us. And our mix is a unique fingerprint to us. So that's the other thing. When you're just relying on probiotics, you may or may not getting the blend that's the right blend for you. But when you take this and have that prebiotic, it's actually nourishing your unique microbiome fingerprint so it can thrive. Okay, that's unique to you. Then the postbiotic are those substances that the bacteria, the friendly bacteria, produce that actually help us thrive. But the nice thing is, and it's a heat treated form of postbiotic that's in here that is still active, has those benefits, but it doesn't again have to be refrigerated, kept alive, and you have full effectiveness. So that's kind of the exciting thing about this being a pre and postbiotic.
Perfect. And when do you typically recommend people take it? Is there a certain time of day with food, or what are
Oh,
your?
good question. You know, and I can tell you, if you remind me, tell you my own story with this as well. It also has a whole food extract of pomegranate extract, which is a wonderful antioxidant. Many of you've heard about antioxidants and how key they are to neutralize free radicals. And its particular form is polyphenols from the pomegranate fruit. So that's also in here, and that nourishes the friendly bacteria too. And then you can get this, I know you're probably going to ask this, with or without a little bit of natural caffeine. Okay, and the nice thing, I've tried both. The caffeine does not make you jittery. It doesn't cause you to crash, but it gives you a little immediate energy while you're working on your gut health. Or you can get it without caffeine if you prefer, which is what I often do now, and get all those benefits. So it's super easy. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm just going to tear it open, dump it in this glass of water I have. A lot of us like to put it in a bottle or a glass jar because then you can shake it up and just drink it on the go wherever you are. And as far as the best time to take it, it's whenever it's easiest for you to take it. Some people like to sip this throughout the day, just one little packet, and it doesn't bulk up. It doesn't, it's really, and it's tasty. Okay. And there's no actual sugar. There's some stevia and some natural sweeteners, nothing artificial in there, but no sugar or calories from it. So some people like to sip it quickly. Some people like to sip it throughout the day, take it on their workouts. I had a couple athletes, a runner, and then a mountain bike racer who liked sipping that because it helps settle their gut, before they were ready to eat. And it was light, on their stomach. And then you can sip it. So some people like it first thing in the morning. Some people like it midday or throughout the day. You can take it in the evening because if you take the one without caffeine, so you could take it really any of those times.
Yeah, for me, I take it first thing in the morning, and my body thanks me for it every morning. If I don't have it, I feel like something's missing. But when I do take it, it's like a refreshing. Your gut feels really
Yes.
light. And then about 30 minutes to an hour later, I'm ready to eat, and my appetite is good. But it's really good. And I feel like it's helped me to have less cravings of like
Yes.
fast food cravings, less of that. I crave more of the vegetables, the fruits and vegetables, fresh foods like that. And so, with that being said, what would you say have been some of the benefits that you've seen your clients or you yourself? What has been your testimonial?
Yeah. And given what you just mentioned, when we start feeling healthy, how many of you have experienced this that are watching this? When you start feeling good, it's easier to make those other healthy choices, like Dr. Chavez just said. And last night I had a busy day, and the taste kind of grows on you, and so I enjoy it. So I ended up having a second one just to sip on again, because then, I'm not craving junk food and stuff like that. And it just felt really refreshing and really good. Now, my own personal experience, I actually grew up, my dad and I, having to take big tablespoon of psyllium husk fiber. Some of you might know of it as Metamucil. I would just get the generic brand without sugar, and it didn't taste good at all. But ever since high school, maybe even earlier than that, every morning on an empty stomach, had to mix it with water. It would clump up. Even when traveling, I had to drink it because I had something called, there's a specific name for it. But in order not to get medical here, I'll just mention that the symptoms it was irregular. I had sometimes too much, sometimes not enough of regularity, and just discomfort that was aggravated by stress and being on the go. And so I had to take that to help keep things, moving in a good way. And we have another dear partner who had severe symptoms along those same lines. Same thing for her. And what happened, first time in my life, in my 50s, I'm 57 years old right now. For over a year now, I haven't had to take psyllium fiber. It's amazing. I just take this little pack once a day. It tastes good, doesn't clump up, and I feel great. And so that's been a huge difference for me.
Amazing.
Yeah, I can agree to that. Even like, let's say I go a day without having it, I can feel it in my stomach, especially after eating certain things, and I'm like, oh, I can feel the difference when I go without it. So it's amazing. My children are starting to get on it, especially my son. He suffers some of those symptoms that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, it's time to get you on this. He's not a big fan of the taste, but I'm like, son, it tastes great. I don't drink much sugary or sugar type drinks, I would call them. But this one is refreshing. I like it. I like to drink mine really cold.
Yeah,
So
that is
that's
a nice tip. It's fun to make it ahead of time, put it in the fridge,
Mhm.
and then to sip it.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a good point there, Natalia, that it's safe for kids.
Yes, it is.
I know a lot of people may think, well, do kids really need to have pre and postbiotics? But yes, like everyone can benefit from this.
Mhm.
Oh
And
my
I'm
goodness,
getting good
today's world,
testimonials.
what people are eating, yes.
Oh yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
I love, in the taste, it's this refreshing watermelon and raspberry natural flavor taste with that natural sweetness from the stevia. And then if you want, you can always squeeze a little lemon, lime. I know some people that do that and have some fun with how you take it. I can tell you this is so much better than taking fiber or psyllium or any of those things. So I love it.
Okay, I have a quick question in the chat from
Yes.
a viewer. So she's asking, she says, I've been on antibiotics for a little over 2 weeks due to having oral surgery. How do I know how much probiotics to help my gut recover?
That's a great question. Did you guys want to comment on that, or you want me to jump in?
You can go ahead, Dr. Ben.
Okay. One of the things that I love about this, it's designed to give you full benefits at just one a day. And like I said, then you don't have to worry about, because with live probiotics, sometimes you got to think about, well, do I take it at a different time than the antibiotic or wait till after the antibiotic? Because otherwise it might just kill the probiotic. But what's nice about this, it's actually nourishing the healthy bacteria in your gut. So you could start this right away. Just one a day would be fine. And then if you are interested or have some issues where you want to get some extra support and make sure that you're getting a probiotic that survives the stomach acid and is really good at colonizing the gut, then you could get with one of us to help recommend one to you, because there's one that we work with that is really good for that.
That's great. Thank you so much for jumping on that question. And what better than it's coming from a doctor?
I actually had the privilege of retiring now and working with people in this more natural health arena. So I'm so glad to work with you and also with my family and share these solutions. And also just a reminder too, one of the reasons I know you chose this, Natalia, is that it's a very simple first step to taking a step toward your health that can radiate to your entire body. Because if we get that microbiome healthy in the gut, and all that effect on serotonin, on your immune system, on how you feel, your energy, it can make your digestion, absorption of nutrients. It can have a cascade effect in a positive way to almost every other aspect of health.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect in a positive way.
Yes, exactly. I love that.
Yes. Do we have any more questions, Natalia?
No, I haven't seen any more questions come through. Just my 12-year-old football player son loves the NuBiome. That's what somebody did. So that's amazing. Safe for children. I can't rave anymore about NuBiome. It's like you mentioned, Dr. Ben, it's a simple yet effective step in the right direction when thinking about changing those habits and as far as wellness goes.
Yeah,
I love how you share that.
It really changed my view on probiotics too, because I was one of those people like, take a probiotic. But now it's like, you don't even know if the probiotic is as effective as it mentions in the bottle, or you don't know how much of it your body's actually absorbing. So I'm like, why take a probiotic when I can take a pre and a post, and it nourishes what's already in there, and it kind of builds a wall for the toxins, like you said, for the harmful bacteria. So
helps them move out and the friendly bacteria to thrive. So
yes.
I love that. And a thought also for everybody watching, if you know someone who could benefit, I would invite you to share this with them, have them get in touch with Natalia or Dr. Chavez, or if you're connected to me, with myself, and we'd be happy to help you further.
Thank you, Dr. Ben. Thank you, Natalia. It was
thank you both. So good to be with you.
For your time. Like I said in the beginning, I'm a big time person. So the fact that you guys have given me some of your time for this, I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Dr. Chavez.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.